Hello, Frank. You're on air with Claire, Noelle, and Mandisa. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right on.
Hi, Frank.
So what's your question about specifically?
So, specifically, the question is, what resources are there for being a good, quote unquote, uncle or co-parent? Because I just got some news that my best friends are pregnant and they want me to be an uncle, and it's just a whole bunch of excitement and feelings and all kinds of stuff. So, yes.
Oh, just roll around in it. It's such a happy thing. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
You and your friends.
Thank you.
Right? Oh my gosh. Who wants to go first?
Well, I'm just wondering, so is this kind of going to be more of a regular co-parenting type thing, or is it going to be more of, the fun uncle comes every so often and hangs out with the kid, or,
It'd probably be just the fun uncle who shows up time to time. I live at a distance, but these people are really important to me, so I kind of would like to make an effort.
Right. Okay.
So now this is Mandisa. So now is there an issue with like the religious aspect? Are they religious and do they know you're atheist, or do you think that would be an issue?
Well, yeah. So they've got some religious angst, and when I found out that they were pregnant, I was just like, well, I can't really keep this a secret. So I kind of came out to them, and they're the first people I've really come out to.
Wow.
Well, since you have that sort of relationship where you feel like you can talk to them about it, that's awesome. That's amazing. And I think the general advice on that sort of thing is, check with the parents, but for you to be honest about where you are when those conversations come up. It's going to be a while. But for now, the advice that I think I can give is they are really going to need food. The first few months, if you can give them food, meal services, and stuff like that, the parents will appreciate that beyond words. I was fortunate enough to have some of those, and they are just a godsend. I wish there was another word for that. Because it takes 2 grown people to take care of a newborn infant. It's amazing. And cooking meals, just forget it. What do you got in the refrigerator? Let's dig out some sandwich meat or whatever. So meals are important. As far as the kiddo goes, spending time is a big thing. And even calling on the phone, writing them letters, sending them little things to do like pictures and things like that. Because I'm an honorary aunt to several kiddos, and that's the sort of thing I do. And it is a cherished moniker for me. It means a lot to me, and I work at the relationship. You have to work at the relationship. My aunt and uncle, real aunt and uncles just, they're non-existent. So, and that's how not to do it. So how to do it is to be involved and lots of love, saying, I love you a lot. The kids just eat that up, and yeah. So who else wants to talk?
Well, for me, I know that thinking on my own aunts and uncles, they were the people that I could go to that they were like, they're not your parent. They're an authority figure, but they're not your parent. So as I've become an aunt, I've really tried to make sure that my nieces see me as someone that loves them, someone that they are safe with, and someone that they can trust and that will be there for them if they need anything. So, as I've said, growing up, my family had some issues. I actually stayed with my aunt and uncle for several months when I was in high school during that time. And so I really try to make sure that my nieces know that that I am that person for them, that if they need to talk to someone about, something that they may not feel comfortable talking to their parents about, but they need kind of that authority guidance or that, that older perspective, that I'm going to be that for them. And the other thing that I would say, going with the aunt/uncle role, is that there are going to be things as the child gets older. There are going to be things that their parents do that you would do differently. You know, you're going to notice that there's going to be ways that they interact with the kid that you would do differently, or that you don't feel, are the most effective. And I think that one of the ways to handle that, and this is something that I've thought about a lot in my role as an aunt, is, you don't want to undermine the parents, but it's also good for the children to see a different way of interacting with people. So, I think that if you don't undermine the parents, and if you have trust with the parents, which it sounds like you do, since they're asking you to be uncle, that it allows you to give the child exposure to a different way of doing things, or a different way of being. So don't think that you always have to do things exactly as the parents do, but do take the lead from them and watch what they're doing, and make sure that you're not undermining or totally counteracting that.
Sure. No, that's good.
Parenting books. If you authoritative parenting books to learn how best to parent. I mean, if you're going to be spending time with the child, you will be, in a sense, parenting it, and knowing the best ways to do that. I had to read up about it. I had to learn, because I had no experience with the good stuff. So,
well, another thing you can do now is work on your communication, because as they get older, it can be challenging to stay calm if they're frustrated, or to know what to do if something happens. And I think, you're going to be a role model for the kid. That's part of being an uncle. And so working on your communication, working on being able to express yourself in a healthy way. If you get frustrated or angry or whatever else, that's also going to be great for the child, because it's going to model a different person other than just their parents or whoever else they regularly see. Yeah. It's going to model that for them.
That is super important. Mandisa?
I agree 100%. And I do think that as much communication as possible that you can have with your niece or nephew is good. I was just thinking, there's a very interesting dynamic on my dad's side of the family, that there are often better, like, uncles, and there are better relationships with, like, the aunts and uncles than there are with the actual parents, which I don't necessarily think is a good thing, but it's just interesting, because my dad was a better uncle to my cousins than he was a father to me and my brother. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes, for some people, because they're not necessarily parents, and it wasn't just my father. Their own fathers were very crappy with them, or their own parents. They had my cousins had again just better parents with certain aunts, or better relationships with certain aunts than they did their own parents, which was just really, really interesting to me. And that just goes to, I wonder if that went to, like, lack of boundaries or lack of respect in a certain way. So I think it would be best to, like, kind of avoid that, like Noelle said. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to do everything the same way the parents would, but and not trying to be that favorite uncle and just saying, hey, you come up here and do whatever you want. We might want to try to avoid that too. So, and it is good for kids to have a place where they can have that. If they can have, good relationships with both, then that's perfect. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like, religion would be an issue here. And I agree with Claire that, just asking the parents whatever they need, especially once the baby is born, is going to be very, very helpful. I'm not sure I don't remember how far away they are, but as many visits as you can make as possible might be helpful too, and that would help with bonding with the child as well.
Yeah, the child will go through. You need to child development because the child will go through phases where they will be frightened of anybody that they don't spend a lot of time with. And that doesn't mean you give up and walk away or that you're never going to be in again. There are distinct points in their development where they reject nearly everyone. Don't let that get to you. Learn how to approach babies. This is something I had to learn how to do. None of this was modeled for me, like I keep saying. So I had to learn how to approach babies so that they wanted to be around me. And I have my sister-in-law to thank for that. She was really a wonderful person to model after. So watch people who are good with children and see what they do, especially infants. And there's a lot you can learn. There are books out there, and just watching is a good thing too. Anything else, Mandisa? Mandisa? Are you there? I think she's probably dealing with a child.
Sorry.
I figured you're dealing with a child or something, keeping it real over there.
I was just saying, I'm here with my cat, my granddaughter, my little grand kitty. So right the boys are downstairs just kind of doing their own thing. But I would just say best of luck, and
enjoy.
Congratulations. And
thank you.
And really, I hope that I wish the best for all of you.
Yeah.
That means a lot. Well, thank you all. I'll rewatch this, and I'll check out the resources you gave me. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks care.
For calling.
Okay.
Bye.
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 All righty. Oh, I'm so excited for him. That is such a good role to play, because you get to walk in and just love on the baby and help the parents, and that feels good. And it's just such good things. And watching them grow. You have the unique perspective of seeing snapshots. So when you're a parent, you may have experienced this too, where you're just living life, and then suddenly you look at your kid and you're like, oh my goodness, they're this much taller or whatever. Yeah. It's happening slowly, and so you don't maybe notice everything. But when somebody comes in and checks in every once in a while, they'll say, oh my gosh, your child has grown, or wow, they have so many words now, or whatever. And you're like, oh yeah, I guess they do. It's nice to have that that snapshot through things. It's just, I'm so excited for you. It's going to be so much fun.
Good on the parents too for making sure that their child is going to have other people in their life, in the child's life, to have relationships with, and thinking about who they want to be in their child's life, and kind of formalizing almost that relationship to make sure that that it's as much of a priority as they would like.
Right.
Right.